The corona pandemic. What's it really all about? What's the bigger message? I'm sure that most people are just flushed. You are probably just so tired of hearing about the pandemic, so tired of wondering when is it finally going to end. However, there's a bigger picture to everything. And I learned that by a certain message that someone sent me. I was actually sending my children to play a certain instrument, and I was trying it out, and it was our trial class. And the instructor at the end of the session said to me, just look at the bigger picture. Obviously, the instructor was trying to get me to sign up for the classes, totally understandable, totally appropriate, and telling me how it's going to benefit them in so many different areas of their lives. And I was thinking to myself, she's right to focus on the bigger picture. The bigger picture in everything that we do, it's the bigger picture. Noah, the generation of Noah, is such an incredible time. It teaches us so many lessons. Unfortunately, the Noah's actions after the generation of the flood proved its continuous downfall. Let's learn more about how our actions can actually affect the whole world. And we can definitely relate to this during this pandemic that we are still going through. In Bereshit it says, and the earth was degenerate before the Lord, and the earth was filled with violence. What did Noah do that the earth was degenerate, that even it affected the animals, it affected the land? What did he do? What was so bad about what he did? What exactly did the people of the generation of Noah do to deserve such a dreadful fate of experiencing the flood? The Torah is quite explicit on this point. These people were corrupt, they were degenerate, they were violent. Their corrupt behavior affected everyone, everything, the animals, and the land. When society becomes so corrupt, it is time to wipe the slate clean and make a fresh new start. The Midrash tells us the men of the generation of the flood used to take two wives. One of the wives would have his children, and she was forced to be secluded and live by herself, live like a widow. Even though her husband was alive, she was forced to live like a widow in seclusion. And the other wife was there to keep him company. So the first was who was forced to live in seclusion was there to have children, while the other one was given medication so she could stay barren, so she does not have children, so she could be there to entertain him. She would sit beside her husband, heavily made up, there to entertain him. And in Eov, it tells us, he encourages the barren woman that does not give him birth, but he gives no benefit to the widow. This shows us such an incredible drive for self-indulgence, how a person can be so selfish, how he can be just immersed in self-gratification. The Midrash reveals to us the root of such a decline in society. Why does the society decline? For what? And the answer it wisely gives us: by making the pursuit of personal pleasure its ultimate value. Eat, drink, and be happy. Self-indulgence, gratification. When these are the values of society, the spiral goes straight down. The two-wife system led to the degenerate world filled with violence. So that it all had an effect. The two-wife system. In our times, unfortunately, we have such a vivid illustration of the process in our own times. Look at what has happened in the past few decades. As soon as the society has opened the doors to permissiveness and self-indulgence, it went down, a downward spiral as well. Morality became a thing of the past, old school, old-fashioned, living in old times. Just get with it. Come on already. Stop living under a rock. Family life is disintegrating in our times. Children don't listen to parents, don't listen to teachers. We live in a world where parents are and teachers are afraid of their children. What are they going to do? What are they going to say? Am I good enough? We're doubting ourselves. There's no such thing as authority. Respect for authority and civic responsibility are just about non-existent. Drugs and alcohol take over at a very young age. All that matters is a good time. What do we hear when we're at work? Thank God it's Friday. Just one more day till the weekend. It'll be June before you know it. That's what I hear at work when I teach in the Board of Ed. It'll be June soon. We'll be off. The weekend always passes by too fast. People measure the value of their lives by the number of pleasure buttons that they have managed to push that day. So it's all about having a good time, doing things for ourselves, enjoying ourselves. There's nothing wrong with enjoying yourself. There's nothing wrong with indulging in this world. That's what Hashem wants from us. He wants us to enjoy the life that He has given us. However, that is not the ultimate goal. That is not the ultimate goal. We're not supposed to dress in garbage bags and live under a rock. We're supposed to have nice things and look nice and enjoy the world. But that's not the goal. Interesting. Before the flood, Noah used to be called a righteous and perfect man in his generation. What was he called after the flood? He was called the man of the earth, profaned himself, and planted a vineyard. So he planted a vineyard right after the flood. However, Moshe Rabbeinu was first called an Egyptian man, and then later on he became the man of the Lord, and that's what he was called, the man of the Lord. Moshe went up and Noah went down, and all because he planted a vineyard. What's going on with that? So he planted a vineyard. What's wrong with that? He planted a vineyard as a symbol that he just didn't learn about the true lessons of the flood. What's wrong with a vineyard? Okay, so maybe he could have planted, a beans tree or he could have planted some wheat. That could have been better? Yes. However, because he planted a vineyard before he planted anything else, that's the first thing he planted. This shows a symbol of the fact that he did not understand the symbol of the flood. He did not see the bigger picture. He saw the end result of many years of degeneration. He saw that society just goes down and down. Look how they're acting. They're not being moral. They're not being civil. They're being disrespectful. They're being perverted. What are they doing? Completely immoral. However, he saw that, but he did not penetrate to the root causes of what happened. He did not recognize that the vineyard, the self-indulgence of intoxicating wines, was a symbol of the downward spiral that led to the flood. So he did that, and then there was the flood, and this occurrence affected society. So we can think to ourselves, I live my own life. I don't affect anyone else. It's my life. It's me. The truth is, in our generation, where it is all about me, the selfies, the iPhones, the I deserve, the it's my life, we treat our gadgets better than we treat the people who are closest to us, unfortunately. So in order for us to really grasp the lessons of this pandemic, we have to ask ourselves, what is this pandemic teaching me? Hashem, our God, is sending us a big message. The corrupt society has led to such incredible downfall where anything's allowed, anything's okay. You have a right to everything, pursuit of happiness, pursuit of speech. Everything you say is fine. There's no respect for anyone or anything as long as it's yours and you're entitled to anything. this is an immorality that we are living in. There's lack of ethics, lack of morality, lack of respect, lack of humanity. All of this is affecting the whole world. This is teaching us that we affect the whole world when we do the tiniest thing. It all builds up, it all becomes something. It's not like I live in my own bubble, I live in a vacuum. I don't. Everything I say, everything I do, everything I think about affects the whole world. This is such an incredible truth. We used to sing, "Oh, I don't see it, so that may not happen." What do you mean that my words affect? Our sages teach us that everything we say, do, our actions, our speeches, our thoughts affect the whole world. Do we see how a tiny germ can affect the whole world? We don't see it. It doesn't make sense to us. I mean, I understand one part of the world, the whole world. We can't just be blind and tell ourselves it's a germ. Everything physical is a representation of the spiritual. That's what the Holy Torah teaches us. Everything physical. It's a physical thing. It's a germ. What is it teaching me? Spirituality. I can do something and affect the whole world. Just like physically, it's a tiny germ. Doesn't look like it's going to affect somebody in the opposite side of the world, but it will. Just give it time. So we have to avail ourselves and recognize the positive side of all of this incredible gift, of this incredible gift of power that we all have. Everything that you do, everything that you say, everything that you think about affects the whole world. So I'm going to give you a practical tip. Try to be cognizant, try to be aware of what you say and what you do and what you think about. And try to ask yourself when you do that, am I making the world brighter? Am I adding the more light into the world by this small action that I'm doing? Or am I making it dimmer, making it darker? So it's really important for us to know that we don't live in a vacuum, that this is not just an occurrence that's going to pass. Hopefully, God willing, it's going to pass. But let us learn the lessons of this pandemic so nothing crazier and bigger, more catastrophic will happen. Let us learn from these lessons. Let us not be like Noah's generation who didn't really learn about the lessons. And it led to the flood. Let us learn, because history repeats itself and we need to be better and more. And if you're listening to this video, it means you do want to be better, and you have to know that you are more. You're capable of great things no matter where you are right now, better and bigger things. And I would like to address this because it's so important for us to know that we are capable of so much. We look at our actions and we don't value them because nobody sees it, nobody hears about it. It's not in the news, it's not on the billboards, but we have to know that through the messages of this Parsha Noah, that everything that you do affects the cosmos. So let it be a lot of light. Appreciating the insights of Rabbi Frand on the Parsha, Leah Abramov, Being and Becoming, awakening awareness of your greatness and potential.